Well, here we are again. As you may remember from the last video, I lost a lot of footage from Blue version. I lost the footage of the beginning of the game and the first two badges. This was a pretty big setback, but fortunately, not all hope is lost. I still have some footage of the Blue Nuzlocke, and I also still have the save file from the end of the game. Between being able to go into the PC and see what I captured, and also with some hints from the parts of the Blue Nuzlocke I do have, I was able to figure out most of what all I did in the first part of the playthrough. I know who lives and who dies, which Pokemon I captured, and what I named them. Of course, I don't have my witty and timeless commentary, or my certainly stellar jokes from 2021, so you'll have to forgive me for that. For this video, I'll be starting a brand new file on Blue and playing through it, choosing the same starter, catching the same Pokemon, and fighting my way through Kanto until I get to the point where the footage I do have picks up, which is right as I'm about to go onto the SSN. I hope you enjoy this attempt at recreating my first part of my Blue Nuzlocke. So right away I know with certainty that I would have commented on how strange it is to see Jigglypuff here in the place of Nidorino. In the anime and in most official media, the red version of this scene with Nidorino is used, and I only ever had red growing up. So, Jigglypuff in the opening sequence aside, the beginning of Blue version is pretty much identical to the beginning of Red version. I started a new game, named myself Artie, as usual, and named my rival Gary. It is a bit strange, but pretty cool to see the default names in Blue version being Red, Ash, and Jack, though. The first thing I did was go to my PC and get that free potion. After that, of course, I headed straight for the tall grass. As for choosing my starter, since my Ivysaur died in Red version for some reason, I think I probably just took Bulbasaur out of the running entirely to be fair to myself. It's possible I still rolled a d6 to pick my starter, but it's much more likely that I just flipped a coin. I know from later footage that I was really hoping to start with Squirtle, but I got Charmander. Not ideal, but at least this is Blue version, and I'm almost certainly going to be getting a Butterfree, so not all hope is lost. Since I started with Charmander, the fire type, I decided to name all of my Pokemon after volcanoes, so Charmander became Erebus. And of course, I thoroughly trounced Gary in our first rival fight. Next, I headed north to Viridian City and grabbed an old man's package. I brought it back down south with me to Pallet Town and delivered it to Professor Oak, who gave me a Pokedex in exchange. Now I can finally get to work catching Pokemon. Now, there is no way to know which I caught on which route in the original playthrough, but in this dramatic reenactment, I got a Rattata that I named Padovar, and a Pidgey that I named Pylin from routes 1 and 2. In Viridian Forest, I caught myself a Caterpie that I named Sturmboli, even though there are more than enough spaces for Stromboli to fit. I am still not entirely sure why I named the eventual Butterfree Sturmboli without that first O. I guess the reason is just gonna be lost to time, but welcome to the team, Sturmboli. On Route 22, I captured a Spearow named Etna. After a little bit of grinding to get my party up to snuff, I went to challenge Gary for the second rival fight. It was a little bit of a challenge, thanks to his stupid sand attack spamming Pidgey, but once I was done with the Pidgey, it was a pretty easy one. After that, I went into Viridian Forest for Grindfest 2021. Not only would I need to train up and evolve the Caterpie into a Butterfree, but I actually had to go well past level 10 to get Sturmboli to learn Confusion and Stun Spore in order to even stand a chance against Brock. Eventually, I did leave the forest and go face Brock. I primarily used the Butterfree for the fight, and in this version of events, I didn't have too much trouble. I have no way of knowing if I had trouble against Brock in the original run, but probably not. I did have something interesting happen here, though. Every time I used Stun Spore on the Onix, Brock would use a full heal. This happened multiple times. I think he may have had an infinite supply of full heals. Cheating jerk. Needless to say, I won and there were no casualties, and I earned my very first badge of Blue version. After that, of course, I headed over to Route 3. The only Pokemon I could have captured here was Jigglypuff, and I don't have a mysteriously dead Jigglypuff or Wigglytuff, nor do I have one in the boxes in the save file from the end of the game, So my best guess is that I accidentally knocked it out trying to capture it. Bummer. Once again, I did not buy the Mount Moon Magikarp, and speaking of Mount Moon, I only seem to have captured 2 Pokemon this time. A Zubat that I named Zukur, and a Clefairy that I named Kalakwi. I couldn't capture Geodude for— oh my god, no, why are you confused? No! Oh no, don't— obvious reasons, and I probably just didn't even bother with Paris since I wouldn't be able to evolve it into a Parasect anyway. At some point while I was thoroughly trouncing Team Rocket, Erebus evolved into a Charmeleon. I also beat up some nerd and stole his cool dome-shaped fossil. And that was Mount Moon done. On Route 4, I ended up picking up a much-needed ground type in the form of Shestakov the Sandshrew. After adding Kalakwi and Shestakov to my party, I took some time to level all of them up to level 16, and then I went to challenge my rival for the 3rd rival fight. Once again, the Pidgeotto gave me some trouble with its spamming of Sand Attack and some critical hits that were a little too close for comfort, but ultimately, I was able to finally vanquish the bird. The rest of his team went down without a fight, and I was able to move on to the Nugget Bridge Gauntlet, and then moved on to thoroughly trounce this secret member of Team Rocket, took his nugget, and then refused to join. Now, on routes 24 and 25, there were only 2 Pokemon that I was actually eligible to catch here, and that's Abra and Bellsprout. And for reasons that will become clear later, I know I didn't catch a Bellsprout on either of these routes. So what most likely happened is that I encountered an Abra on Route 24, but it teleported away before I could catch it. And then, on Route 25, I managed to encounter a second Abra that I was actually able to capture. This one I named Antipodes, and he's the best. You'll see why. I went and helped this weirdo de-Pokemonify himself, and received a ticket for the SS-An in return, thus giving him a solid alibi for why he supposedly could not be on the ship. I'm on to you, Bill. I've got your number. Anyway, with that errand out of the way, I knew my next task was going to be taking on Misty in the Cerulean City Gym. And with 2 Pokemon in my party weak to water, and nobody that had access to any super effective attacks, I was going to have my work cut out for me. So I did a little bit of grinding. Kadovar evolved into Eradicate, and then I felt like I was prepared to finally take on Misty for the badge. Thanks to later footage, I know that this fight went smoothly and there were no casualties, so soon enough I had Misty's Cascade badge in hand. Next I beat up this guy, got the Dig TM, and headed south to Route 5 toward Vermilion City. Here on Route 5 there are only 2 Pokemon I was eligible to catch, and that would be Bellsprout and Meowth. And I know for a fact I did not catch Meowth here, and you'll see why in the next video. So here is where I was able to capture my Bellsprout, who I named Ventotine, who I added to my party pretty much right away. Bellsprout in hand, I headed down to Vermilion City to see who else I could potentially add to my party. Despite not being able to ever evolve it for— whoa, no! It missed with Dig because it's flying type. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just forgot the Dig wouldn't work on a flying type. Reasons: I did capture a Diglett that I named Daito. I also went east to Route 11, and my best guess is that I tried to capture a Drowsy, but failed by knocking it out, because I certainly don't have one in my boxes at the end of the game, and I don't have a mysterious gravestone with a Drowsy or a Hypno on it either. At this point, I did some more grinding to get my party up to the levels that they will be at when the footage I have picks up, and in the process of grinding, I evolved Antipodes into a Kadabra, Ventotine into a Weepinbell, and Shestakov into a Sandslash. And now we're caught up to where the footage from 2021 picks up. I have 2 badges in hand and a team of Pokemon ready to take on the SS-An and get Lieutenant Surge's badge. That's where I'll leave things off for now, and in the next video, I'll let the meat from 2021 pick things up. See you later! Hey there, thanks for watching. Because of all of the lost footage, Blue version's going to be a little bit different, but I do hope you stick around and keep watching. A lot of cool things happen in this playthrough, in my humble opinion. Please do like the video and subscribe, and hey, leave a comment too. That would really help. Until next time, bye-bye!